You wake up, no alarm went off, nothing buzzed, nothing pulled you out of sleep except your own body deciding it was done. It's quiet, not city quiet, real quiet, the kind you've maybe never actually heard. There's no engine somewhere in the distance, no hum from a fridge, no notification waiting for you, just air and birds and the breathing of the people sleeping next to you. This is a single day around 50,000 years ago, and by the end of it, you'll have lived one full day as a human being the way humans lived for almost our entire existence. Here's the thing nobody tells you: most of this day is going to feel better than yours, more open, more free, slower in a way your nervous system would barely recognize. But there's one moment coming. One moment in this ordinary day that would scare you more than any predator, more than any hunt, more than anything you're picturing right now. And you won't see it coming until it's on top of you. So let's actually live one of these days, sun up to that moment, start to finish. You sit up, the fire from last night is gray ash now, someone will get it going again soon. Around you, maybe 30 people are starting to stir. And that's not random, that's basically your whole world. Researchers have an idea called Dunbar's number, the rough cap on how many people one human can really know. About 150. Think about that. Every single person you would ever meet, trust, fight with, love, or bury in your entire life, you could fit most of them around one fire. No strangers, no crowds, no scrolling through thousands of faces you'll never speak to, no alarm, no phone, no commute, no deadline. You wake up and the first thing you see is people who would die for you, and who you'd die for. You're hungry, of course you are, but there's no kitchen, no fridge, no shelf with food just sitting there waiting. Before you eat, you have to go get it. So you grab a digging stick, maybe a stone blade, and you walk out with a few others into the morning, and here's where the picture in your head is probably wrong. You're imagining a desperate all-day grind for survival, clawing for every scrap, starving, but that's not what the evidence shows. Anthropologists who lived with the Hadza in Tanzania and the San in the Kalahari watched closely and added up the hours. The actual time spent getting food, often around 3 hours a day, some days more, some days less. 3 hours. You dig up tubers, you pull baobab fruit down from the trees. If someone finds a wild bee colony, that's a celebration. Honey was one of the most prized things on earth. And the hunt, the big dramatic spear-throwing hunt you're picturing, that happened. But not every day. Meat was rare and amazing, not the daily routine. Now hold that 3 hours next to your life. A modern person spends something like 90,000 hours working over a lifetime. 90,000. Their version of work was a morning walk that ended with breakfast. And here's where most people get it completely wrong. We tell ourselves a story that ancient life was nothing but suffering, that every second was a fight against starvation, and we should be grateful that's over. But an anthropologist named Marshall Solins looked at this and called these people something that made other scientists furious. He called them the original affluent society. Not affluent because they had stuff, affluent because they had time. Because once that food was gathered, the day cracked wide open. The sun climbs, it gets hot. And you do what they did: you find shade and you stop, you talk, you lie down, you nap in the middle of the day with zero guilt because there is no clock telling you that you're behind. You fix a tool, you watch the kids run around, you do, honestly, a whole lot of nothing. This isn't about how primitive they were, this isn't about how lucky we are. This is about what we quietly gave up and how few of us ever notice it's gone. But don't get too comfortable, because the day wasn't all warm shade and free time. Stay with me, because this is the part we sand off when we romanticize it. There's no safety net here, none. That cut on your foot from a sharp rock this morning, there's no antibiotic for it, no bandage, no doctor, it's just you, the wound, and whatever your body can fight off before infection sets in. People died from a scratch. A bad tooth could kill you slowly over weeks. A broken leg far from camp could be a death sentence. And you are not the top of the food chain out here, not really. There are leopards that hunt at the edges of where you sleep, hyenas with a bite that can crush bone, snakes you won't see until your hand is already too close. Death wasn't this distant, sanitized thing that happens to old people in a building somewhere. It was close, it was fast. It could happen on an ordinary afternoon mid-sentence to someone you love. So you stay alert, always a part of your brain is listening, and then the sun starts to drop, and this is when everything changes. As the light fades, everyone comes back, everyone drifts toward the same place, the fire. You can't really understand these people until you understand the fire. It wasn't just warmth, it wasn't just cooked food, though that mattered enormously. The fire was the television, the kitchen, the classroom, the courtroom, the therapy session. It was the one place the whole group gathered every single night for hundreds of thousands of years. And what did they do there? They talked. They told stories. Researchers who recorded what foragers talk about during the day versus at night found something striking. Daytime talk was practical, about plans and complaints. But night talk, fire talk, was different. It was stories, myths, the dead, the far away, the deep questions. This is where human knowledge lived, not in books, not in a cloud, in voices around a flame passed from old mouths to young ears, the same era that painted those animals deep inside the caves at Lascaux. Every important thing your ancestors knew survived because someone said it out loud by a fire and someone else remembered. And then they slept, but not the way you think. Here's where we finally reach it, the moment. For a long time, we assumed ancient people slept like a rock the second it got dark and woke at dawn. But a team of sleep researchers led by Jérôme Siegel did something simple and brilliant. They put trackers on the Hadza, the San, and the Tsimane, people living without electricity, without screens, without a single artificial light, and they measured how these humans actually sleep. The results broke a few myths. They didn't sleep more than us. They averaged around 6.5 hours a night, less than a lot of people reading this assume, and they didn't fall asleep when the sun went down. They fell asleep based on temperature a few hours after dark when the air got cold. But here's the part the open loop has been waiting for. You sleep, and then in the dead middle of the night you wake up, not because of a noise, just because that's how the body works without artificial light. And now picture it, you are awake in a darkness you have genuinely never experienced, not dim, not shadowy, black. There is no switch to flip, no screen to light up your face, no streetlight bleeding through a curtain, no little glow from a charger across the room. Just black and sound. Something moves in the brush, you don't know what, you can't see your own hand, the fire is embers, and there is no one to call, no one coming. It's you, lying in the dark, listening to a world full of things that can kill you with absolutely no way to see any of them coming. No light, no lock, no walls, no one awake but you. That is the moment, not the leopard, not the hunt, not the wound. It's the everyday horror of being a soft, blind animal in the total dark, a fear so old it's still wired into you right now. It's why a dark room still raises the hair on your arms. That's not childish, that's ancestral. That's the oldest fear there is, and you woke up inside it every night of your life. And then, eventually, you slept again, and the sun came up, and you did it all over. Now zoom out. This wasn't one weird day, this was the day. For around 290,000 years, this was the human routine. Wake without an alarm, get your food in a morning, rest for hours, stay alert for the things in the dark, gather at the fire, sleep in two pieces with a black silent gap in the middle. Farming, cities, jobs, clocks, all of that is the last 1% of our story. A thin little sliver at the very end. So here's the part that should sit with you. These people had no money, no clocks, no bosses, no schedule anyone handed them. And somehow they had more genuine free time than you do right now, reading this on a break that's about to end with a notification already waiting. We didn't lose that life slowly over a long, sad decline. We traded it. In a blink, about 10,000 years ago, we swapped freedom for comfort and safety, and most of us never even knew a deal was made. So let me ask you, knowing everything now, the 3-hour mornings, the long warm afternoons, the fire, but also the wounds, the leopards, and that black, silent middle of the night, could you actually survive one full day back there? Sun up to that moment in the dark, tell me honestly down in the comments. And if this rewired your brain even a little, if you'll never look at your alarm the same way again, subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.